don't trust nothing.
Yeah.
He was killed.
Yeah.
He had this. It was 3 or 4 different times where somebody was on the floor that wasn't supposed to be on the floor.
We don't trust nothing. He was killed. Those were the words whispered by those who lived closest to the storm. For years, no one dared to challenge the official story of Eric Eazy-E Wright's death. The world accepted the headlines. AIDS. Sudden, tragic, unstoppable. But behind closed doors, the story never sat right. Too many contradictions, too many unasked questions, and one son who refused to let those questions fade. Marquise Wright, better known as Young Eazy, grew up surrounded by fragments of unease, snippets of conversations, stories cut short. The sense that his father's death was not a natural twist of fate, but something far darker. Tonight we retrace that story. The birth of a hip-hop empire, the enemies it created, the rapid decline that made no medical sense, and the chilling silence that followed. This is the story of Eazy-E's death, and why it may not be what we were told. Eric Lynn Wright was born in 1964 in Compton, California. The streets shaped him before school books ever could. Poverty, racism, and gang violence weren't stories to Eric. They were survival. By the mid-1980s, Eric turned street profits into something new: music. In 1987, he launched Ruthless Records, one of the first black-owned labels where the artist controlled the masters, a revolutionary move in a business built on exploitation. And in 1988, lightning struck. Straight Outta Compton. NWA's raw, unapologetic masterpiece tore through America. Songs like F the Police were so direct the FBI sent warning letters. The more authorities tried to silence them, the louder they became. Eazy wasn't just a rapper. He was a businessman. He kept ownership, he kept leverage, and he played the industry at its own game. But independence has a cost. In an industry ruled by contracts, lawyers, and intimidation, Eazy-E stood alone, and powerful people noticed. By the early 1990s, NWA had fractured. Personal clashes and money disputes split the group apart. Dr. Dre left, teaming up with Suge Knight to build Death Row Records. Death Row wasn't just a label. It was an empire built on intimidation. Artists, executives, even bodyguards testified later. Contracts signed under duress. Meetings shadowed by armed men. Threats as common as beats. In that climate, Eazy-E's refusal to sell his label, or even pieces of his valuable catalog, wasn't just stubborn. It was dangerous. He became the immovable obstacle standing in the way of consolidation. A man who couldn't be bought, pressured, or controlled. And that independence may have made him the most dangerous man in West Coast hip-hop. Late 1994. Eazy attended a studio meeting that would haunt his legacy forever. The meeting was with Suge Knight. Accounts differ on why. Some say it was about artists. Others claim it was unfinished business. But everyone agrees the atmosphere was tense. Eazy told friends afterward that something about it felt wrong. He didn't explain, just a vague unease. At the time, no one thought much of it. But weeks later, his health began to unravel with terrifying speed. And nearly a decade later, Suge Knight would make a chilling joke on national television about a method of killing that sounded all too familiar. January 1995. Eazy-E had a cough. Harmless, he thought. But the cough became fatigue. Fatigue became shortness of breath. His body began wasting away before friends' eyes. By late February, he was admitted to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. Tests confirmed advanced AIDS. The diagnosis stunned everyone around him. There had been no warning signs, no gradual progression. And then came the speed. In the 1990s, HIV usually took years to advance to full-blown AIDS. But within weeks, Eazy went from stage to terminal. On March 16, 1995, he made a public statement from his hospital bed, read aloud by his attorney. A farewell to fans, a plea for awareness, a final message of love. 10 days later, he was gone. 33 days from diagnosis to death. Even doctors admitted the pace was baffling. 2003, Jimmy Kimmel Live. Suge Knight leaned back in his chair, smirking. Asked about violence in hip-hop, he replied, "They got a new thing now. They inject you with HIV. That's it." The audience laughed nervously. But for those who remembered Eazy's mysterious illness, it wasn't funny. It was horrifying. Medical experts later admitted deliberate injection of HIV is rare but possible, and it would result in a far faster progression than natural transmission. For young Eazy, that clip was a revelation. The vague studio meeting his father described. The rapid decline. The silence. Suddenly, the pieces didn't feel random. They felt connected. 2015. The movie Straight Outta Compton hit theaters, bringing NWA's story to a new generation. It was a critical and commercial triumph, but for Eazy's family, it was something else entirely. The film portrayed Eazy's death as a straightforward case of AIDS complications. Clean, simple, tragic. No mention of the suspicious timeline, no nod to industry enemies, no whisper of conspiracy. For young Eazy, it felt like erasure, a sanitization of reality. His father's final days reduced to a footnote. So he broke his silence. On Instagram he wrote, "I've been known my pops was killed. They never respected him in life or death." And just like that, the doubts that had lingered in hushed corners exploded back into the spotlight. Eazy-E's death didn't just take a father and an artist. It sparked a battle over everything he built. Ruthless Records was transferred to his wife, Tamika Woods Wright, just 12 days after they were married. She inherited control of the label, the catalog, and the brand. Eazy's older children? They were shut out. No will, no blueprint, no division of assets. In the years that followed, lawsuits and public feuds tore at the family. His daughter Ebi began a documentary project called A Ruthless Scandal, No More Lies. Lil Eazy was sued for trying to use the Ruthless name. For young Eazy and his siblings, the pain was deeper than money. They had lost not just their father, but any sense of closure. No goodbye. No voice left behind. Just silence. And a legacy now owned by someone else. 3 decades later, Eazy-E remains one of hip-hop's most influential figures. He helped invent gangsta rap. He built a label that proved independence was possible. He gave a voice to the voiceless. But his death? It remains shrouded in suspicion. A cough that became a coffin in just 33 days. A studio meeting with a man known for intimidation. A televised joke that sounded less like humor and more like confession. For young Eazy, the evidence is undeniable. His father was killed. Silenced. And the silence after? The unanswered questions, the missing pieces, are part of the crime itself. Eric Wright was more than Eazy-E. He was a son, a father, a builder, a fighter. He lived his life on his own terms, and died under circumstances that still don't add up. Was it a tragic twist of fate? Or was it the price of independence in an industry where power and fear walk hand in hand? The truth may never come clean. But one thing is certain. The silence has been broken. And the question still echoes. What really happened to Eazy-E?